former USS Cole Commander Kirk Lippold with me now on What's at Stake. Commander, good to see you on this Saturday. Can you just give me a 30,000-foot look at what you're expecting and hoping to see this next week with the president's trip?
Well, Alicia, good morning, and thank you for having me on. I think the president's trip is really sending a signal that he is going to remain engaged in the Middle East, that he is going to work with Iran to hopefully get them to dismantle their nuclear program, which I think is a very good goal. They can no longer continue to pursue that, but more importantly, touch base with our allies in the region who continue to have an influence on the ongoing conflict going on between Israel and Hamas, which is, of course, supported by Iran.
Now, on the topic of the Iran nuclear negotiations, Fox News has obtained exclusively these satellite images that were provided by an opposition group that claims that it was a previously unknown Iranian nuclear weapons facility. And apparently it's been there for about 10 years. So you have to imagine that that's going to be part of the discussions. But also the president at the same time is floating the idea of renaming the Persian Gulf. And Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, was asked about that yesterday. Take a listen.
Ahead of the president's trip to the Middle East, he's mentioned he wants to rename the Persian Gulf the Gulf of Arabia. Iran is now saying that doing so will bring the wrath of all Iranians. Can you talk about the support that the Gulf of Arabia has in the region and why this is important to the president?
Well, first of all, the president has said he hasn't made a determination yet. That was in the news that you guys all asked him about it, and he said he wasn't quite sure. So he hasn't made a definitive decision on that yet.
So, Commander, there's just so much in the mix right now that we're watching.
Well, I think, Alicia, when you look at it, renaming the Persian Gulf is a distractor. The real reason he's doing that is because he wants to make the Iranians rise up and have some comment on it. The bottom line is that we have witnessed since 1979, the Iranians cannot be trusted. They will lie, they will cheat, they will obfuscate, and they will do whatever it takes to continue their pursuit of a nuclear weapon. At the end of the day, while the intelligence community was probably well aware that this facility existed and that it is only now becoming public, a number of those are in fact legitimate targets both for Israel, the United States, and others in the region. Iran cannot be allowed to pursue a nuclear weapon. But getting this information out so that the American public and the world can verify and identify that these are legitimate targets, unlike Iraq, where we had the problem with the nuclear weapons program and everything that went on there when Secretary Powell tried to make that public. This time, people know that Iran is enriching uranium. They are literally weeks from a breakout, from having multiple nuclear weapons, and that we cannot afford to have that destabilize the Middle East, which is great for President Trump to engage over there right now.
You know, and Commander, President Trump announced this week the United States and the Iran-backed Houthi rebels reached a ceasefire agreement after weeks of intense strikes. So, I mean, do you think this is going to hold?
When it comes to the Houthi rebels, they, again, are sponsored by Iran. They will do the same thing. They will lie, and they will use this pause, unfortunately, to reconstitute and rearm, while the president is trying to extend the opportunity for them not to shoot ships. All you have to do is look at the merchant vessels right now. Many of the major shipping companies, none of them trust what they've said. None of them are changing their shipping patterns to put more ships through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. They are in fact holding back because they do not believe that the Houthi rebels are accurate. And at the end of the day, the Houthi rebels are a symptom of the problem, and the problem is Iran, and they're the ones that need to be addressed. But in the larger context, the nuclear agreement and negotiation for them to dismantle is the priority, followed by all of their sponsored terrorist groups, including the Houthi rebels.
Now, just a critical 24 to 48 hours coming up for sure. And quickly, I only have about 15, 20 seconds left, but I did want to give you a chance to hit on the topic of oil and the president heading to this region and trade and all of that.
Great point, Alicia, because at the end of the day, keeping oil prices at or below $60 a barrel in coordination with Saudi Arabia and other nations hurts both Iran and Russia, who continue to destabilize the European continent and the Middle East. So keep the price down. Good for the world.
Commander Kirk Lippold, so good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.